Hello students, myself Dr. Sachin Kapur and I wish you all a very warm welcome to this session of zoology lecture. The topic of our discussion today is life processes. We'll be discussing all the important systems like digestive system, respiratory, circulatory, excretory and so on. Today we're starting with digestive system in humans. Let's understand the meaning of term digestion. Digestion means breakdown of complex food substances into simpler form for easy absorption. As I have written here, it is the breakdown of complex food substances into simpler form, and what is the motive? What is the purpose? It is for easy absorption. That means the complex food substances cannot be absorbed easily. Now, when we say digestion can be mechanical, it can be chemical. Mechanical digestion refers to chewing or mastication. When you chew the food in your buccal cavity with the help of teeth, the food gets mixed up with saliva. That chewed food plus saliva is what is bolus. What is the purpose of this mechanical digestion? Why we are chewing food? When you chew the food, that breaks the larger food particles into smaller, that increases the overall surface area and that facilitates the enzymatic action. When the surface area increases, that facilitates enzymatic action. It also facilitates swallowing. It will be difficult to swallow larger food particles because that will cause pain in the esophagus. Chemical digestion refers to the action of digestive enzymes on food. Digestive enzymes, like those which act on carbohydrates, they are called carbohydrates. Those which act on proteins, they are called proteases. Those which act on fats, they are called esterases. Those which act on nucleic acids, they are called nucleases. These are hydrolytic enzymes. Carbohydrates are further of different types, like the one which acts on starch is amylase, salivary amylase, pancreatic amylase, intestinal amylase. What are the main components of our daily diet? What do we eat daily? In our diet, we take carbohydrates, we take proteins, fats, nucleic acids like DNA, RNA, vitamins, minerals and water. Please remember that these three food components, vitamins, minerals and water, do not require digestion. Why? Because they are already in their simplified form and they are absorbed easily. We have written here that digestion is for the complex food substances. When the complex food substances are broken down into simple units, for example, when you eat any carbohydrate, say it is starch, starch is acted upon by the enzyme salivary amylase in your buccal cavity and it is converted into maltose, isomaltose and limit dextrins. Now, we'll discuss the digestion of all these individual food components step by step. We will first start with the digestion of carbohydrates. Let's see what are the main carbohydrates which we take in our daily diet. The carbohydrates of our daily diet are starch. Starch is present in bread. Starch is present in rice. It's present in potatoes. So let's start with the digestion of carbohydrates. The main carbs of our daily diet are starch. We take sucrose. Sucrose is table sugar or the cane sugar or the commercial sugar. If you are taking milk, milk has sugar, lactose. So these are the main components of our daily diet, the main carbohydrates which we take regularly: starch, sucrose, lactose, maltose also, which is present in germinating seeds. Digestion of starch begins in your buccal cavity, in your mouth itself. Starch is acted upon by the enzyme salivary amylase, which is also called ptyalin, or it is also called diastase. When you chew the food in your buccal cavity, after chewing it for some time, the bread starts tasting sweet. What is the reason for that? The reason is starch is converted into simple sugars, maltose, isomaltose, and limit dextrins. Maltose and isomaltose and this limit dextrins are the simple sugars. The pH required is 6 to 7.4 and the optimum pH, that is the pH at which it works best, is 6.8. Now we know that food is chewed for very small duration. In that small duration or in that short duration, only 3 to 5% of starch is digested in the buccal cavity. Then we swallow the food as the food passes through esophagus. Esophagus is just a muscular tube which passes the food from buccal cavity to stomach. Esophagus doesn't secrete any digestive enzyme. Please remember, esophagus is just a muscular tube. Esophagus doesn't secrete any digestive enzyme. But as the bolus passes through esophagus, the digestion of starch continues. If you are taking some liquid, it just takes 1 or 2 seconds to pass through your esophagus. If it is a solid food, it may take 3 to 4 seconds. From esophagus, the food goes where? It goes into stomach. We know that the pH in the stomach is acidic because of hydrochloric acid. Acidic pH inhibits the activity of ptyalin because I have written here that the pH required is 6 to 7.4. So acidic pH inhibits the activity of ptyalin, but by the time entire bolus becomes acidic, nearly 30 to 50% of starch is digested by salivary amylase. When the food, that is the bolus, gets mixed up with the acidic contents of stomach, then it is called chyme. So chyme is acidic. What is chyme? Bolus of food plus the acidic contents of stomach. And which is the acid in stomach? Hydrochloric acid secreted by oxantic cells or the parietal cells of gastric glands. And acidic contents of stomach along with bolus is what is chyme. Acidic pH inhibits the activity of ptyalin, but by the time entire bolus becomes acidic, 30 to 50% of starch is digested. From the stomach, the chyme goes into the small intestine. Small intestine receives 3 digestive juices. Bile juice from the gallbladder. Bile juice is produced by liver and it is stored in gallbladder. Remember, bile juice doesn't contain any digestive enzyme. I am writing here. Bile juice does not contain any digestive enzyme. It has bile salts, sodium taurocholate, sodium glycocholate, which helps in emulsification of fats that we'll discuss in the digestion of fats. It has bile pigments also, bilirubin, biliverdin. But as far as digestive enzymes are concerned, there is no digestive enzyme in bile juice. Another juice which the small intestine receives is pancreatic juice produced by the acinar cells of pancreas. Please remember, pancreatic juice is the richest digestive juice because it contains enzymes for the digestion of proteins, carbohydrates, fats as well as nucleic acids. So the pancreatic juice contains the enzyme pancreatic amylase, which acts on the remaining starch and converts it into maltose, isomaltose and limit dextrins. Third type of juice which I said is the intestinal juice. Small intestine receives intestinal juice which is also called succus entericus. The intestinal juice contains enzymes like sucrase. Sucrase enzyme acts on the sugar sucrose and converts it into glucose and fructose. For maltose sugar, there is enzyme maltase which breaks it into 2 glucose units. Similarly, for isomaltose, there is enzyme isomaltase which breaks it into glucose plus glucose. For the milk sugar lactose, there is enzyme lactase, which breaks it into glucose and galactose. So intestinal juice has these enzymes sucrase, maltase, isomaltase, lactase. These enzymes act on these food components and break them into simple monosaccharide units. These are monosaccharides. Saccharide refers to sugar. Now see, whatever carbohydrate we eat, the end product is glucose, fructose and galactose. This glucose, fructose and galactose are the simple monosaccharide units which are absorbed easily through the villi of small intestine. The inner lining of the small intestine is thrown into folds. These folds have subfolds which are called villi. Villi increase the absorptive surface area. So that was about digestion of carbohydrates. Please remember, it starts in the buccal cavity with the digestion of starch and it ends up in small intestine.